I'm going to go through some of the key features of how I would actually prepare a main lesson, and some of the differences to how a lesson might usually be approached in a mainstream context. So this is a photograph of I admit, not a good board drawing. So this is a board drawing I did for a lesson. It was some storytelling that I was doing, and I'm actually not going to explain it to you. And the reason for that is because board drawings, in my understanding, they're not the same as learning outcomes. So when I did my PGCE and QTS, I was very disciplined in always putting up a learning outcome at the beginning of every lesson. In this lesson, we will learn this. And that's different from the way that we use board drawings in main lessons in Steiner Main Education. Board drawings are there as more of a signpost for learning, as a signpost for the classes. Well, this is the general direction we're going in. And also, I as a teacher, I did this. I might not have done it particularly well, but I did it. So I was talking to Peter the other day, and he was saying, we were talking about board drawings, and he was sharing the fact that one of his colleagues had talked about it's an expression from the teacher to the class. Even if it's an attempted direct copy of another piece of artwork, it's still an artistic expression from the teacher, rather than just something on a PowerPoint. And that's important. It's important that there's that emotional, individual engagement from the teacher to the class. It's also not closing down the learning. One of the challenges sometimes, if you're using learning outcomes at the beginning of a class, is that you may, for certain students who are more cognitively structured than others, limit that learning possibility. And board drawings will tend to be much more open in terms of the direction of travel that you're going in. You absolutely need learning outcomes for the main lesson itself. You need to know what you're going to have to cover, but to actually put it on the board and say this is what we're going to be learning limits it. I'll talk, maybe I'll talk later, but I'll mention it now. The other end of the lesson that we would usually do from a mainstream perspective, the plenary, at the end of the lesson where we say, right, what have we learned in this lesson, and we'll go through the learning, also does not tend to happen in a main lesson. And it's for the same reason, is that you're not actually wanting to close down the learning. You're not wanting to summarise it and say, okay, well, that's what we've learned now. You're wanting to allow the provocation of the experience that you've introduced the children to actually keep cooking, to allow the development of the concepts to keep cooking. And then you bring it back the next day. I'm jumping ahead a bit here, I'll come back.